All right. Welcome, everyone. Take it away, Justin.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're really excited to dive into the world of financial research and discuss some of the trends going on in the space and how technology like natural language processing and the work that we're doing at Amenity can be used to improve both the quality and reach of financial research. Before we dive in, I want to emphasize that if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section of the chat, and we'll try and answer them throughout the presentation. And if we have time at the end, we'll have a dedicated Q&A. And if not, we'll follow up with any questions that remain unanswered. But again, really want to emphasize, feel free to ask questions. And with that, I'm Justin Ramos, and I work on the product team here at Amenity, working really closely with our clients to kind of understand the solutions and the problems in the market. One of the things I work really closely on is our intelligent tagging product that we're going to be discussing today. With that, Victoria.
Thanks, Justin. It is a pleasure to be here. My name is Victoria Crane. I'm Director of Product Management here at Amenity. I lead the research quality and tagging suite of products. I work alongside website software and model developers, and in the last few months I've been working with Aidos's team to integrate Amenity's sidebars into Aidos's authoring environment, providing intelligent tagging to Aidos's clients. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce our special guest from Aidos today. And in fact, actually, Omar, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about this partnership?
Thank you so much, Victoria. Hi, Justin. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me here with you today. My name is Omar Gazzarin, and I am the head of product Americas at Aidos Media. I am in charge of any product initiatives that involve our US-based customers, and I've been with the company for almost 9 years. And also, I was lucky enough to experience myself the implementation of our content management system at different bulge bracket banks, financial institutions, and media corporations. In the past month, I've been working with you, Victoria, and your team to develop our joint offering and partnership, which aims at creating, I believe, something unique in the market, combining our core capabilities of content creation and delivery with the power of Amenity and AI and natural language processing. Thank you.
Thanks, Omar. So, to set the scene, at Amenity, we work really closely with clients all across the financial research landscape. And a universal sentiment that's shared that we hear quite often is that it's never been more important to produce high quality research and to produce research that's highly discoverable. These are obvious points. Everyone always wants their research to be high quality and for people to read it. That's at the core of the business. But we hear that more and more, that research needs to be differentiated, and want to dive in a little bit about kind of what necessitated this focus shift. One of the key things is we're dealing with the different regulatory contexts. Regulations such as MiFID II have changed the research landscape in the past few years by forcing the asset managers to fund their research from their P&Ls, which has kind of caused the effect that asset managers need to be more selective in the research that they're purchasing. And part of that shift towards being more selective is really about finding the highest quality research. Previously they were met with 25 to 30 different broker research and had, unlimited purchasing power to some degree. But now that those budgets are constrained, it's really about finding which research providers have the highest quality research and the research that's most alpha generating. The second piece of that, and that's kind of a direct tie-in with that changing spending landscape, is that decrease in buy-side spending has required differentiated and high-quality research from publishers. We've seen over the years, buy-side spending on sell-side and independent research has dropped substantially, and early predictions are that in 2022 we're going to see another 4 to 5% drop in that budget. So as that spending has kind of constrained what the buy side is looking for in terms of the research has shifted. There's higher expectations. With that in mind, Victoria, I know you're kind of out there in the market. What have you heard from purchasers of research on how the expectations have shifted?
Yeah, sure. Justin, of course, you're right. Beyond the financial and regulatory considerations, there are other factors at play. One of them is that the investors are consumers. They're the consumers of investment research, and they need to be recognized as such. The world has changed. It has become more digitalized, ever more fast-paced, and our collective expectations as consumers have changed with that. Today, I can order my groceries on my phone and have them delivered to my doorstep within 20 minutes. So why do I need to spend more time looking for relevant research? If I went on a brokerage website, it just does not feel natural anymore that I will type in AI, searching for research on artificial intelligence, and then sift through a number of irrelevant reports that happen to mention AI once or twice. What I want is to be delivered and taken directly to several reports that are about artificial intelligence. Omar, I wonder, what other trends have you observed in broker research?
Yes, thank you, Victoria. What you mentioned is exactly what we are experiencing at Edus Media. So research is evolving rapidly, adapting to the different needs of investors. As you said, right, we're all living in a Netflix, Spotify, social media era, and this is inevitably impacting how investors expect to receive and consume the research. They want to read it from anywhere, different outputs through their portal, PDF, mobile apps, you name them, right? And research institutions need to adapt to these new paradigms. In essence, what we are seeing is that research institutions are looking to deliver high quality research. This is what they're aiming at. And you may wonder what high quality means. From what we are experiencing at Edus Media, this means mainly two different things. On one hand, content, so what research produce, it needs to be direct, needs to be easy to be consumed, easy to be read, engaging, and that's, for example, where we see the rise of videos, podcasts, data visualization tools, audios. On the other hand, though, high quality means also content that is relevant for me, personalized for my needs. As you said, our span of attention is getting shorter and shorter, right? And we want to read what is relevant for us and consistent with all the stuff that we read. Information overloading, as we're seeing in the market, is becoming a real issue. So imagine, for example, going to the office, opening up your email and finding there 500 plus emails from different research brokers and providers. At this point, you would read none. Information like this is completely meaningless, right? And we heard directly from hedge fund managers, for example. So research providers are looking to find different and alternative way of delivering their content. Something, for example, we keep on hearing are microsites, dedicated portal, research as a service. So high quality research, this is what you're aiming at, and we will discuss later, but something that I will anticipate is that properly tagging content is at the basis, at the core of finding and reading the right content at the right time.
Makes a lot of sense, Omar. Thanks for those insights. We're clearly seeing that this kind of shift in expectations is very real. The broker research side needs innovative solutions that are focused on two pieces, that quality and the discoverability. Victoria, what have you seen from financial research publishers around solutions for the research discoverability piece?
Yeah, right. I mean, Omar already mentioned it a little bit, and that's what we're seeing. The main vehicle for discoverability is tagging. And tagging, what I mean by that is really creating a list of words, a combination of words that describe the content of a research document, associating them with the file. So when somebody goes and searches in the research portal by certain keywords, that document will be surfaced to them. Now, of course, the devil is in the details. The more comprehensive and accurate that collection of tags is, the higher the possibility of the research report actually landing on the desk of somebody who wants to read it. And so the real question becomes, how do we create, who creates those lists of words, those tags, in what process, and how can we make that process scalable so it can be applied to every document that gets produced or created in an organization. And so there has been early attempts to automate tagging, and mostly around entity tagging. And what I mean by that, if as an analyst, I'm writing about Microsoft, I will tag my report to Microsoft, and automatically it will be tagged to the industry and the geography and other things associated with the company. Well, that's fine and well, but that tells nobody anything about what this document is about. And that's when we get into thematic and topical tagging, which very much is a manual business. And so companies have asked their research analysts to create the tags. Others have outsourced to third-party providers, but none of them have solved so far the problems that come with manual tagging. Consistency, thorough tagging, and really how you do that at scale at a cost-effective manner. And so I'm really curious to hear from Omar what he's seen behind the scenes in terms of execution of those manual tagging solutions.
Yeah, thank you, Victoria. Thank you for the question. As you can imagine, like tagging is a core piece of our technology, of our content management system. So what we offer to our customers is to tag their content, so apply metadata to their piece of research, notes, and we can do that following some standards like RxML, for example, or we can allow also customers to apply their custom taxonomies on top of the standards. And all of that is done in a user-friendly manner through a dedicated panel in our application. When we talk about tagging in its manual form, and we imagine a standard editorial workflow, when we have analysts creating the reports, supervisory and reviewer approving the content, and finally distributed, tagging, as I said, in its manual form, can become a bottleneck in both the phases. On one hand, you can have analysts spending a lot of time trying to understand the tags, trying to understand what is the proper item to be picked in very long list of taxonomy that sometimes also can be obsolete or irrelevant, right? And also how to find those underneath tags, like as you mentioned. So this can take a lot of time. And as you said, also another problem is being consistent across the entire products and output that you create. And this is also where SA and supervisory analysts can spend a lot of time, right? Try to understand, for example, why a specific tag was picked, what is the business reason, is this consistent with what we published 1 month ago, and so on. Okay, just to give you a practical example. So imagine having a report talking about Tesla and autonomous driving. An analyst may wonder, is this an automotive report, a technology report, an AI report? And the funny thing is that it only gets worse the moment you apply different items in the picture, right? The more you put elements to be taken into consideration. Think, for example, about ESG, right? Is this report about Tesla and autonomous driving is relevant for my ESG strategy just because it's about electric vehicle? Who knows? That needs to be taken into consideration with the entire production of content that you have. That's where we are seeing that AI, natural language processing, can really help financial services to speed up the end-to-end process, but also, as you said, make it consistent across the board and the entire corporation.
Thanks for sharing those insights, Omar. Yeah, I think the value add for tagging, especially around thematic tagging and more sophisticated forms of tagging, is really clear in terms of increasing that research discoverability. Victoria, have you seen any solutions that specifically address the quality piece of the financial research equation? You know, we touched on the discoverability being kind of one of those pillars and how tagging addresses that. Have you seen anything on that substantially affects the actual quality of the research?
Yeah, specifically when we are talking about written research, it's very traditional. It's eyeballs on paper. The report gets read and reviewed by various different departments in an organization before it gets published, by editors, by supervisory analysts, by compliance, sometimes even by the publishing team. And every department will look at the document from different perspectives. There are some automation tools that mostly help with the editorial part. We all know them and use them, spell check, Grammarly, that really helps analysts deliver better quality report to their editors. But supervisory analysts have to ensure that the document meets the requirements of the regulator, and in that they're pretty much left on their own devices to do it one paper by paper, reading and making changes. And similar situation with compliance. Yes, that has all been true until now. And
yeah.
So I'm just gonna...
I mean, going off of that, I think that, you know, seeing those two main needs, the discoverability and quality piece, it's kind of what we saw in the market when we decided to kind of tackle the issue and build out the Amenity suite for research tagging and quality. So Victoria, why don't you give us a bit of color on what we're doing in the space, and then we'll hand it off to Omar to provide a demo. Always better to show than tell, but just a quick overview of kind of our different offerings and how they address the quality and discoverability piece.
Absolutely. Well, we generally divide our offerings into 3 different pieces: so research quality, what we just talked about, thematic tagging and entity tagging. Let me spend like just a minute on each one of them. If you can take me to the next slide. Research quality is you can think of it as augmentation tool for supervisory analysts, like Grammarly for supervisory analysts. And I'm sorry to say it's not going to do all the work automatically. There is still a lot of work remains to be done the old traditional way, but this tool will help you quickly zero in on commonly found problems in research writing, things that and that you can improve quickly, things like long and complicated sentences, overused passive voice, overused words, will make your report more readable, but also avoid things like exaggerated language that can get you a fine, or make sure that any management criticism is probably discussed in the report. Thanks. Thematic tagging is our next offering. It has, we are able to discover in any report themes, are more general themes like big data or artificial intelligence or commodity prices. We also have ESG specific taxonomy. ESG has been very much top of mind recently. And we, of course, work with our clients to create customized taxonomies that reflect their view of the world, if that is what is required. And then last but not least, entity tagging, which at the moment, we are able to discover 160,000 companies, private and public, domestic here in the US and international, by name and by ticker. This is really a game changer for compliance. So if a report for Microsoft is tagged for Microsoft, that's great. But compliance needs to ensure that every company that is mentioned in that report has been checked off the restricted list. This tool will help compliance do their job faster and also reduce the opportunity to miss a company that should not be mentioned in a report. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Omar for the demo, the best, most interesting part for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Victoria. Handing it over to Omar to provide a bit of a overview, see the product in action.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
We can.
All set.
Okay, perfect. Okay, what you are currently see on screen is a dashboard, which is the first thing that an analyst see when they access our tool, our web-based application. And there you can see 3 different queues of document. The list of document where I'm working here in draft with my teams and my colleagues. The documents are submitted to the supervisory analyst, and here on the bottom right, the documents are published, meaning they're available on the portal, can be consumed through PDF, mobile apps, and so on. Here, for the sake of the demo, we are gonna look at 2 different reports. One is a more thematic report about the impact of the metaverse for investors, and another one instead is a purely an equity report about Ubisoft. So let's get started. Let's have a look at this report. So this more thematic report about the metaverse. Here we have our research already written for the scope of the demo, and we have here all the different components. So we are able to atomize our research inside our editor, and we can see we can have charts, quotes, and so on. All of this can be done in a neutral way. So we have the content that can be then easily declined in all the different output channels, meaning I'm able to see how this will look like in a PDF format. There you go. Okay. So something more static. Or, for example, at the same time, as I said, engaging your users with different output, such as, for example, the creation of a standalone web page, an HTML rendition of the same report. So again, you can see just the click of a button and you can create all the different output channels the way you want it. So what we have done with the partnership with Amenity is to enhance the user space of the user with 2 different dedicated panels. So here we have initially created what we call the RQA, so the quality check of the report. So with the click of a button, the user can scan the document through Amenity and immediately highlight some generic statistics, the one that Victoria mentioned about the report. So for example, in here, we can see that there are 6 overused words, some hedging sentences, some forward-looking statements, and so on. As there is a thesis which is identified for my report, and again, as you would imagine, this is a thematic report, not an equity report, so there is no price target and estimates in there. So this panel is 100% configurable. Those circles can be hidden or shown based on the preferences of the customer. What is important from the user perspective, you may wonder why, what are those 21 sentences? So again, this is just the click of a button, the user can click in there and show the specific mentions of those sentences in the report, okay? So for example, in here, an hedging sentence, why investors should care about the metaverse. The same thing can be done for all the other circles, like for example, the forward-looking statements that you can see directly in here. At the bottom here, we have all the other statistics that Victoria showed you related to the length of the documents, the words, the charts, the exhibit, where they are, the proximity. So again, on overall quality of your report. What is important, of course, is that this is actually live. So you have your results on the right-hand side, and then you can take action and adapt the different statistics to what you're actually writing. So just to give an idea, here I'm going to write something silly just to show you this in action. So I can say, for example, actually not very silly, but the metaverse will be awesome. Okay, and here I can ask Amenity to reperform an analysis of my report, and you can see that, for example, differently from what happened earlier, we have a dedicated mention for exaggerated language. Again, this should prompt the attention of who is reviewing the report, because of, as Victoria said, this can lead to fines and additional problems. Again, the user wants to see what are those mentioned. Simply click in here, and there you go. This is what is the sentence that should be reviewed. So now let's focus on the second report, the equity one. Again, let me show you the feedback that we received from the RQA panel. And you can see in here, this is an equity report, right? So we expect to have a price target and estimates, and there you go. This the check here is there, and we can see the mention. You can see, for example, in here we in our report cut the price target to 74 euros. Also, here we were showing you the RQA, so the first overall quality of the report, but also we can focus on the elements that concerns the tagging of the report for the discoverability and also for the monetization of your content. So what we have done is to create a dedicated panel for the tagging that, as Victoria said, can have different flavor, ESG, thematic, and entities and companies. So same user experience, the user can click on Analyze Reports, and here we can see all the ESG related subject automatically showing up in my panel here on the right hand side. Again, I don't need to read the entire report and I identify manually what this report is about, also related to ESG, but it's Amenity that with is AI and NLP is able to suggest me some tags. There you go, same behavior. I can click on the tag and I can see, for example, those 4 ESG commentary, okay? Or for example, here, this is about the scandals that happened in 2020. I can see, for example, where those mentioned to harassments and assaults happen to be in the report. What is also very interesting, so those are tags for your ESG, but potentially there could be other tags, as Victoria said, that can, let's say, go on a level below. So that would be very complex to be found and to be discovered. And those are the thematic tagging. And again, through the power of Amenity, you can see that's the blink of an eye. So even though this report seems to talk about software and gaming and possibly about some concerns and scandals, there you go, somehow underneath the first draft of the text. In the end, the last panel that I'm going to show you is how easy it's also possible to find and identify companies through this interface. So one last time, I'm going to click on the Analyze Reports button. My content gets scanned by Amenity, and there you go, through the huge list of discoverable entities that can be identified by Amenity. We have immediately in here the list of companies through tickers, name, available in my report. This is very important because, of course, what we can do from here, we can trigger, for example, the automatic placement of disclaimers, or we can prevent the document to move in the workflow if there is a company that should not be mentioned, and so on. Again, this is you can see how quick it was for me to discover those tags. I didn't need to go through the entire report. Actually, I'm focusing always on the first component, and then simply working with the UI that we built together with Victoria and the team. It's always just a matter of a click of a button, and then let's say that's where the magic happens. Okay, so I think this is all for this first demo. So Justin, over to you, and let me know if you have any questions or if anything else you want to see.
Yeah, Omar, thanks for that awesome demo. I think it's really clear the value add that the Amenity Atos partnership has, both in terms of the research quality piece. It's a direct one-to-one. You plug in your documents as you're working on it after the fact, and you can directly see what you need to improve, and that improves that quality of that research. And I think the tagging piece allows you both from a discoverability piece, allows it to be more discoverable. You can do really creative things like create custom content sets that I think is a real value add to make your research more discoverable and kind of like outreach campaigns. So I think it's a really powerful tool that has a lot of uses that aren't just analyze this, tweak this grammar. While it's definitely part of it, I think it really adds some creative uses. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
No. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have a few minutes here and wanted to do a little bit of Q&A. So feel free to answer some questions. In the meantime, we have a question in around kind of what are next steps with the product that you see, in the coming months. What's the roadmap look like?
Yeah, I'll take that for Amenity, and we are planning to significantly expand our thematic and with topics tagging, where it really to take it to a level where it currently is humanly not possible to tag documents. If a paragraph talks about artificial intelligence, that's meaningful, that's piece of content that can be also repurposed for other research documents that are being created without reinventing the wheel and writing the same thing over and over again. And so it's really important that those topics are tagged and discoverable, whether by the research consumers or by other analysts that are working for the same organization. We're also expanding our entity tagging. Currently, we are tagging companies, but within weeks, we'll be releasing new functionality where you can tag any geography, industry, currency that is mentioned in the report. Nothing is presumed. It's all about the text. And I guess a little bit further down the road, we will be releasing new sidebars with Atos that we call a general research assistant, where while the analysts are authoring their report, they can quickly see insights from proprietary Amenity EHG models and key driver models, etc.
Yeah, and if I may
stuff. Omar, do you want to talk a bit about the Atos side?
Yeah, just one additional thing. As of today, we are mainly focusing on the authoring part of the report, but also we see a lot of application in both the preparation of the report, so where we see, let's say, the pipeline management, so what is the research are going to talk about, when they're coming out. So definitely that's an area also that we're going to explore together. And also on the distribution side. So what is the content that gets consumed on the portal and how we can feed back this information inside the end-to-end workflow.
Awesome. One other question that I think would be helpful is if you can talk a bit about without naming names, just time that the technology was really helpful for a client. Speaking a bit to a more specific use case.
Well, I've done extensive feedback sessions with clients that are already using research quality, and I was really stunned to hear from some users to tell me that that has saved them up to 50% of review time. And I know it sounds too much, but everybody makes the same mistakes apparently, and it takes a lot of time for a reviewing analyst specifically to first fix grammatical problems before they even get to the point where they can dive into the substance of the report. And so yeah, big time saver on the research quality tool.
Awesome. We have a couple more coming in. We have a question on, are we looking to include fixed income in the future in any capacity?
Well, whoever asked the question probably refers to the price targets identification. These tools work just as well on fixed income research. Obviously, price target will not be identified there, and so you don't even have to see that badge. As Omar mentioned, we can configure the tool to make sense to you. But our tools were tried and tested on research, both on equity and on fixed income side.
Awesome. One final question. So we've had a couple on pricing and engagement. If we can just talk a little bit about, how to work with us. What does the engagement model look like?
Well, we'll be happy to take that offline. First step would be to drop us a line. You can see the emails here, Victoria at Amenity Analytics or Justin at Amenity Analytics. If you are interested in ADOS's platform and using Amenity's tools in integrated already turnkey solution in ADOS's platform, please, Omar, I guess.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to take
your email here, omar.gazarin@adosmedia.com, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Well, if anyone has any additional questions, feel free to drop a line. But if not, this was, I think, a really informative session. And I think just to really hammer home that, there are tools like NLP that really help with the research distribution piece, both in terms of that, we've mentioned it a million times, those two pillars, improving that research quality and improving its discoverability so that people are actually going out and reading it and buying it. And I think some of the tools out there in the market, like the stuff we're working on at Amenity and ADOS, really are kind of exemplary examples of that. So again, as Victoria said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us on the panel. If you'd like to learn more, kind of have a more targeted discussion, feel free, happy to, do an additional demo for a larger audience, or kind of just talk through how you envision working with us. And with that, thank you for your time. Always greatly appreciated.